Welcome to Friendly Math 101. Today our lesson is on writing domain and range in inequality notation. There are a few different types of notation to use when we're writing domain and range, but for continuous graphs and continuous data, we're going to use inequality notation. Let's take a look at our first example. Here we have a continuous graph. Domain and range describes all of the x and y values on a graph, but it's impossible to list out every single point on this line. So that's why we have a different notation. We're just going to say domain is D and range is R. So the smallest x value on this graph looks like it's here at -2. So we're going to write -2. And the highest x value or largest x value looks like it's here at +4. We're going to put an x in the middle because we're talking about our domain values, and we have to keep in mind it's every single fraction and decimal and integer on this line. But here at -2 we have an open circle, so it's not included. We're going to use a less than symbol. At the +4 we have a closed circle, so we're going to use less than or equal to. So our domain values are all the x values where x is greater than 2, greater than -2, but less than or equal to 4. It's all the numbers in between, not including -2, but including +4. So a possible domain value could be 3.5 or 1, -1, but it can't be a number like 5, or it can't even be -2 because those are outside of our domain values. Our range describes our y values. So our smallest y value looks like it's at -1, and the highest y value looks like it's here at +3. We're going to put a y in the middle because we're talking about our range values. At the -1, we have an open circle, which means it's not included. We're going to use the less than symbol. At the +3, we have a closed circle, which means it is included. We're going to use less than or equal to. So our range values are all the y values that are greater than -1 and less than or equal to 3. It's everything in between them, not including -1, but including +3. So a possible range value could be 3, it could be 2, 1.5, 0, but it can't be -1 and it can't be anything outside of those values of -1 and 3. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. Here we have another continuous graph. We're going to use D for domain, R for range. And let's start with our domain values, our x values. Our lowest x value looks like it's right here at -3. And our highest x value is at +4. At the -3, we have a closed circle. So that closed circle means -3 is included. We're going to use less than or equal to. At +4, it's an open circle, so we're just using the less than symbol. So our domain values are everything between -3 and +4. It does include -3, but it does not include +4 because of that open circle. So 4 is not a possible domain value, but 3.99999 would be because that is less than 4. Let's take a look at our y values, our range. Our lowest or smallest y value is right here at +1. The highest y value is here at +4. We're going to put a y in the middle because we're talking about our range values. At the 1, we have an open circle. So that open circle means 1 is not included. We're just going to use the less than symbol. At the +4, we have a closed circle, so that's going to be less than or equal to. So our range values are all the numbers between 1 and 4, not including +1, but it does include +4. So it could be 2.3, it could be 3, but it can't be anything outside of those values. All right, so this graph looks a little bit different, but it's still a continuous graph. So for our domain values, we are still looking at all of the possible x values, starting with the lowest x value, which is right here at -3. And our highest x value, it's a little tricky because some people want to just focus on the endpoints. right here, but we do have a higher x value over here, which is at positive 4. X goes in the middle. At negative 3, I have a closed circle, so that's less than or equal to. At positive 4, it's an open circle, so we're going to use the less than symbol. So our domain values are all x values between negative 3 and 4. It does include negative 3, but it does not include positive 4. For our range values, we're looking at the y values of this graph. The lowest y value is right here, and that's at negative 1. And our highest y value, again, it's not at this endpoint, it's over here, that is at positive 5. Y goes in the middle. At negative 1, I have a closed circle, so that's going to be less than or equal to. And at the 5, I have an open circle, so that's just going to be the less than symbol. So our range values are all of the numbers between negative 1 and positive 5. It does include negative 1, but it does not include positive 5. All right, so that concludes our lesson today on domain and range and inequality notation. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those questions in the comment section below. And for more math tutorials, subscribe to our channel, Friendly Math 101.